While eating grilled corn, he suddenly stumbled upon a money-making opportunity. He watched his son sweating profusely from the hot sauce, yet still devouring it with obvious delight. He realized that everyone around him seemed addicted to spicy flavors, so he decided to create a spicy chip to escape his fate as a janitor. He and his family bought all kinds of peppers and started developing the spicy chips, while other factories were using chemicals to synthesize capsaicin. Richard firmly believed that only by using natural ingredients and constantly adjusting the ratios could he create the most authentic, addictive Mexican-style heat. Eventually, he found the perfect balance between peppers and chips.
Burns good or burns bad? It burns good.
Although the hot sauce was perfected, Richard was just a janitor at the factory. His idea was ignored by company executives, who even mocked him publicly, saying if he was so great, why was he still just a janitor? So Richard called the CEO of the parent company directly and passionately pitched his hot sauce. The CEO was moved by Richard's enthusiasm. Richard got the address to mail samples, and soon he and his wife carefully packed up a large box of samples and sent them off. When the CEO tasted the first bag of chips, he was completely hooked. He didn't even bother wiping his hands before immediately calling back to say he wanted to visit the factory personally. When word got back to the factory, the old guard executive panicked. He publicly berated Richard, warning that if the CEO ultimately rejected this proposal, the factory could go under, and all the workers would lose their jobs. Richard began doubting himself. When he got home and his wife learned everything, she told him firmly that she would stand by him no matter what. After that, she studied relevant books with him and helped him rehearse his presentation over and over. When the CEO arrived at the factory, Richard was still incredibly nervous, especially when asked about market share and similar questions. He completely froze. So he simply put down his prepared speech and started describing the spicy chips in his own plain language, talking about how much ordinary people loved spicy food. His sincerity moved the CEO, who decided on the spot to invest in the product. However, when Flamin' Hot Cheetos officially launched, the market response wasn't what they'd hoped for. It quickly became a slow-moving item on supermarket shelves. The factory manager decided to stop production, and Richard hit rock bottom again. Then it suddenly dawned on him. The problem wasn't the product itself. The factory hadn't advertised the spicy chips at all, so most people didn't even know they existed. So Richard contacted old friends and asked them to help with street marketing. They took to the streets to promote the product, handing out free samples to passersby. Richard even brought his family to supermarkets and bought every single bag of Flamin' Hot Cheetos off the shelves. Whenever other customers looked their way, he would enthusiastically recommend the snack. Before long, demand for Flamin' Hot Cheetos exploded. The craze swept through the streets. The CEO immediately placed an order for 8 million units, and the struggling factory roared back to life. The machines ran around the clock at full capacity. 5 months later, the factory broke its sales records and returned to peak capacity. Yet Richard was still just a janitor. When he went upstairs to clean, he found the CEO waiting for him. Under Richard's gaze, the CEO personally hung his nameplate on an office door. He was officially promoted to marketing director. The entire company gave him a standing ovation, and Richard immediately shared the good news with his wife. Richard's journey from the bottom of society all the way to corporate executive perfectly illustrates that behind every successful man, there's a great woman supporting him.